The 1941 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel stands as a striking and historically rich coin that continues to capture the attention of collectors and enthusiasts alike. Not just for its age or design, but because of the surprisingly high market value it can achieve, with exceptional specimens selling for as much as $5,000. Issued by the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use a mint mark during this period. The 1941 Jefferson nickel is far more than a simple 5-cent piece. It is a lasting tribute to President Thomas Jefferson, one of America's founding fathers, and reflects the complex political and economic era of pre-World War II America. This coin was part of the broader Jefferson nickel series introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, designed by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag. The obverse features a left-facing portrait of Jefferson, finely detailed with classical features, and the inscription "In God We Trust" on the left, Liberty, and the year 1941 on the right. The reverse showcases Jefferson's famous estate, Monticello, along with the inscriptions "E Pluribus Unum," United States of America, and 5 cents. Despite its relatively high mintage, over 203 million coins from the Philadelphia Mint in that year alone, what makes certain 1941 no-mint mark nickels incredibly valuable is a perfect storm of condition, rarity, strike sharpness, eye appeal, and sometimes extremely rare errors or varieties. Most 1941 Jefferson nickels you'll come across are well worn from decades of circulation and thus hold only modest collector value. However, when a coin is discovered in mint state 67 or higher, particularly those graded by PCGS or NGC, and especially if it features full steps, meaning the steps on Monticello are fully struck with no breaks, its value increases dramatically. In fact, a 1941 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel graded MS67 with full steps designation has sold for $5,000 or more at reputable auction houses. The reason for such a high price lies in the extreme difficulty of finding coins from this year and mint in that high A condition, due to the common use of worn dies and subpar planchettes during the wartime economy's buildup. The full steps designation is particularly critical because it indicates an exceptional strike, a rare quality on nickels from this era, especially those minted in Philadelphia. It is worth noting that, despite the large overall mintage, only a tiny fraction of these coins survive in superb condition today, and even fewer feature unblemished luster, clean fields, and crisp details. Therefore, such coins are highly sought after by registry set collectors who compete to complete sets with the finest graded examples available. Another factor that elevates the value of certain 1941 Jefferson nickels is the presence of minting errors and die varieties, which collectors love to hunt for. Some examples include doubled dies, die cracks, lamination errors, and even rare planchette flaws. A known variety for the 1941 nickel is the doubled die obverse DDO, in which the inscriptions, particularly Liberty and the digits in the date 1941, appears slightly doubled when magnified. Although subtle to the naked eye, these errors are very desirable when certified by professional grading companies. In combination with a high grade, a doubled die or other error can easily elevate the value of the coin into the thousands. Coins with multiple anomalies, for instance, a DDO with full steps, are even rarer and command significant premiums. This is especially true in today's coin market, where even minor errors, when authenticated, can greatly increase a coin's desirability. The rise in interest in U.S. coins with error types has resulted in even more attention to earlier Jefferson nickels like the 1941 issue, beyond its physical features and rarity. The historical context of the 1941 Jefferson nickel adds another layer of collector interest. Minted just months before the United States entered World War II, this coin represents the last of the pre-war nickels before the wartime compositions began in 1942. At that point, nickel metal became a critical wartime resource, and the U.S. Mint switched to an alloy of silver, manganese, and copper, creating the famous war nickels from 1942 to 1945. Thus, the 1941 issue is the last traditional alloy 5-cent coin before these changes took place, making it a key piece in the broader Jefferson series. Many collectors view it as a transition year coin and include it in both standard and specialty sets. Its mintage from Philadelphia, Denver D, and San Francisco S also makes it part of a 3-coin year set, but the Philadelphia version with no mint mark stands apart for its sheer beauty and high-grade condition, and the story it tells about the country's economy and priorities in 1941. Because of the Philadelphia Mint's high production rate and lack of mint mark, many of these coins were quickly released into circulation and used heavily, contributing to the overall wear and tear that makes high-grade survivors rare. Today, finding a raw ungraded 1941 nickel with full mint luster, sharp details, and no contact marks is extremely difficult. Even more rare are those that earn the full steps FS designation from grading services. Full steps require that at least 5 of the 6 steps at the base of Monticello be fully visible without interruption, a feature that's often weak or missing entirely due to die erosion or improper striking. As a result, full steps examples in MS66, MS67 are elite collector pieces, often found only in original mint rolls or high-end vintage collections. In fact, the population of coins in this condition with full steps is exceedingly low, often fewer than a dozen graded at the highest levels, making each one a potential investment quality coin even circulated. 1941 nickels can be valuable when they feature unusual characteristics. For example, off-center strikes, clipped planchettes, or struck through grease errors can turn a common circulated coin into a rarity worth hundreds or thousands, depending on the severity and visibility of the error. These coins should always be authenticated by trusted grading companies like PCGS Professional Coin Grading Service or NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company, as certification significantly increases buyer trust and market value. On top of that, collectors interested in registry sets, where competition revolves around obtaining the highest graded example of every coin, are willing to pay premium prices for top condition coins like the 1941 Jefferson nickel in Ms. 67Fs. In terms of collecting strategy, this coin appeals to multiple types of collectors: those who collect by date and mint mark, those who focus on the Jefferson nickel series, and those who specialize in pre-war U.S. coins. Additionally, collectors who seek affordable entry points into valuable coin collecting often start with Jefferson nickels due to their availability and potential for high value. But while many 1941 nickels are common in low grades, the sharp-eyed collector knows to look beyond face value. Examining details like strike quality, steps on Monticello, luster, and any signs of doubling or striking anomalies, collectors and dealers who specialize in cherry-picking, finding rare varieties and bulk coin lots have found great success. Identifying high-grade or error 1941 nickels that are overlooked by the general public. The thrill of turning a 5-cent coin into a multi-thousand-dollar discovery is part of what makes numismatics so exciting and rewarding. As of today, the coin market continues to grow, with more collectors turning to mid-century and pre-war U.S. coins as long-term assets. The 1941 Jefferson nickel without a mint mark, in exceptional condition or with certified errors, is firmly among the coins that have gained attention for their rising value. Some auction results for coins in MS67 full steps have topped $5,000, and prices continue to climb as fewer untouched examples remain in the wild. If you happen to find a 1941 nickel in uncirculated condition, or believe yours has error potential, it may be well worth submitting for professional grading and authentication. It's a humble coin with an extraordinary story, from the hands of Americans on the brink of war to collectors today who appreciate its artistry, history, and hidden value. So the next time you see a worn-out old nickel, take a closer look, because it just might be a Next up, the 1965 no-mint mark Jefferson nickel may at first glance appear to be an ordinary piece of pocket change, but in the world of coin collecting, this coin has a surprising potential value of up to $6,000, thanks to an unusual combination of historical context, condition rarity, grading demand, and elusive mint errors. Struck during a transformative period in U.S. coinage, the 1965 Jefferson nickel was produced in response to a major coinage crisis caused by rising metal prices and coin hoarding. That year, the U.S. Mint made a bold decision. It removed mint marks from all coins to discourage collectors from saving certain issues based on their mint origin, which would slow down circulation. As a result, all Jefferson nickels from 1965 to 1967 were struck without a mint mark, regardless of whether they were made in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This policy makes the 1965 Jefferson nickel especially interesting for collectors, because it obscures the mint origin, adding a layer of mystery. Designed by Felix Schlag, the obverse of the coin features a classic left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson with the inscriptions "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1965. The reverse showcases Jefferson's Monticello home, surrounded by the words "E pluribus unum, United States of America," and 5 cents. With a mintage of over 136 million, most examples were heavily circulated and show significant, where making high-grade pristine specimens incredibly rare today. It's these mint-state MS67 or better and full steps FS examples that have sold at auction for $6,000 or more, depending on eye appeal, surface quality, and certification. The hidden value of the 1965 Jefferson nickel lies in a few key areas: condition rarity, strike quality, and grading population. While the overall mintage numbers may be high, very few coins survived with sharp details, strong luster, and clean surfaces. Coins graded MS66 with full steps, let alone MS67 or higher, are extremely scarce, especially when authenticated by top-tier grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company. One of the biggest challenges with the 1965 issue is its notoriously weak strike, particularly on the Monticello steps, one of the key grading points for Jefferson nickels. Most coins, even those found in uncirculated mint sets, fail to display the full 6 steps that qualify a coin for the full steps designation, which dramatically increases its collector appeal. Coins that do earn this FS distinction especially in grades MS66 or MS67, are the true outliers, and they represent the top 1% or less of all 1965 nickels known to exist. Auction records show that certified MS67 full steps examples have reached and surpassed the $6,000 threshold, largely due to their rarity and demand from registry set collectors who seek the finest known examples of each date. Additionally, 1965 was a year of experimentation and change at the U.S. Mint, as the Mint tried to phase out silver in dimes and quarters and replace it with clad compositions. There were growing pains in production. This led to a variety of striking issues and errors, some of which are incredibly rare and valuable today. Among the most collectible are off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchettes, and struck-through grease errors. In rare cases, collectors have even reported 1965 nickels struck on foreign planchettes, resulting in underweight or off-metal errors. These errors, when authenticated, can push the value of the coin into the 4- or 5-figure range, depending on the visibility and severity of the mistake. One particular specimen struck 25% off-center and graded MS65 by NGC sold for over $2,500. And error coins with deeper impact or additional rarity can reach even higher prices. Furthermore, the absence of a mint mark in 1965 creates an additional layer of complexity. All three U.S. mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, struck coins without mint marks, meaning there's no easy way to identify the source of a coin unless it comes from a special mint set SMS or displays known die markers from a specific facility. This confusion led to a relatively short-lived policy, as mint marks were reinstated in 1968, but it also added a level of uniqueness to 1965 dated coins, especially when high-quality examples are so rare. Interestingly, 1965 nickels are also collected as part of the short-lived no mint mark transitional set, which includes coins from 1965 to 1967. Collectors often aim to build full mint state or SMS sets from these years, and the 1965 nickel in MS67 full steps is often the key date due to its scarcity in that grade and finish. This drives up demand and increases prices, particularly among registry set builders who compete to own the finest graded examples of each coin. The intense competition for low population, high-grade coins is one of the main reasons the 1960 Jefferson nickel has crossed the $6,000 mark at auction when coins are tied to very low census numbers. Sometimes fewer than 10 known in a certain grade, with FS buyers are willing to pay large premiums for bragging rights. Investment, value, or completion of a rare set. The PCGS and NGC population reports continue to reflect just how rare such coins are, and with increasing interest in mid-century U.S. coinage, values are expected to rise even further. The aesthetic quality of these coins also plays a large role in their value. Collectors look for sharp strikes, brilliant or satiny luster, minimal contact marks, and strong eye appeal. Some coins from 1965 exhibit exceptional toning, including rainbow effects or vibrant gold and blue hues, which are especially prized in the marketplace. Combined with a full step strike, beautiful toning can push the coin's price to new heights. A single coin with superb color and perfect preservation can ignite bidding wars among high-end collectors. These coins are often found only in original government-issued mint sets, or more rarely, in untouched rolls that were preserved in optimal storage conditions for decades. It is no exaggeration to say that a flawless, fully struck 1965 Jefferson nickel with exceptional toning and full steps could bring over $6,000 in the current numismatic market. In conclusion, the 1965 no mint mark Jefferson nickel is a coin with far more value and complexity than meets the eye. Born in a year of US mint transition and produced without mint marks, this coin represents a historical pivot point in American numismatics. While tens of millions were struck, only a tiny fraction survive today in MS66, MS67 with full steps, making those examples worth thousands. Add in the potential for mint errors, toning, and registry-level demand, and you have a recipe for explosive market value. Whether you're a beginner looking through change or a seasoned collector reviewing your old mint sets, this is one coin you shouldn't overlook. The next time you come across a 1965 nickel, take a closer look, because that common 5-cent coin just might. Next up, the 1794 flowing hair $1 coin holds a uniquely sacred place in the annals of American numismatics, often described not just as a coin but as a national treasure, a direct, tangible connection to the birth of the United States monetary system. It was in 1794, just 2 years after the U.S. Mint was formally established by the Coinage Act of 1792, that the first ever silver dollar was struck by the United States government, and the resulting piece featuring the now iconic flowing hair Liberty design represents far more than face value. It is a priceless historical artifact and one of the most valuable and coveted coins in American collecting history. While some high-grade specimens of the 1794 dollar have shattered records, selling for over $10 million, there are also examples that are far more worn, corroded, or even old, yet they still command market values of $7,000 or more. Precisely. Because of their irreplaceable place in history and their extreme rarity, the $1,794 is the first large silver coin ever struck by the United States Mint, and its production marks the moment the fledgling U.S. government proved it could issue its own strong, reliable currency to rival European powers. Only 1,758 of these coins were ever minted, and experts believe fewer than 140 exist today in any condition. These coins are not just collected, they are studied, revered, and protected as national heirlooms. The design of the 1794 flowing hair dollar was crafted by engraver Robert Scott, who was tasked with creating an image that represented the ideals of the newly formed republic. On the obverse, Lady Liberty is depicted in a strikingly classical style, her hair flowing freely in the wind, a symbol of freedom unbound by monarchical rule. Surrounding her image are 15 stars, representing the 15 states of the Union at the time, along with the inscription Liberty and the date 1794. The reverse is just as elegant and symbolic, featuring an American eagle, thin and graceful, perched amid a wreath surrounded by the inscription United States of America. Notably, there is no denomination indicated on either side, as was common for early U.S. coinage. These design elements, particularly the delicacy of the eagle and Liberty's flowing hair, make the coin a favorite among classic coin connoisseurs, art historians, and investors alike. Each surviving $1794 bears the marks of history. Many were mishandled, spent, lost, or corroded over centuries, and yet even those in heavily worn or impaired condition are instantly recognizable and incredibly valuable, often selling at auction for $7,000 to $25,000, depending on the level of wear, damage, and market demand. What makes the $1,794 even more legendary is the historical and political backdrop under which it was created. In the early 1790s, the United States was still stabilizing its economy after years of post-Revolutionary War debt and chaos. Establishing a national currency that was backed by a mint and standardized system was a monumental achievement, not just for commerce but for national identity. Prior to the 1794 silver dollar, Americans primarily used foreign coins like the Spanish milled dollar pieces of 8. But now, with the creation of the U.S. Mint and its early coinage programs, the nation was laying the foundation of economic sovereignty. The $1,794 thus represents a crucial turning point. It wasn't just the first dollar. It was a statement of independence and ambition. In fact, some historians and numismatists believe that George Washington himself may have been personally involved in the symbolic importance of issuing a silver dollar that could rival Spain's internationally accepted coins. Because of this deep historical significance, any surviving $1794 is seen as more than a collectible. It is a founding artifact, a coin that captures the hopes, fears, and legacy of early America. In terms of condition and grading, $1794 are a challenge for both collectors and professional graders. Due to the limitations of early minting technology, many coins were weakly struck, especially on the left side of Liberty's hair and the eagle's breast. Even coins graded very good VG or fine F may show incomplete details. Nevertheless, their value remains high because of extreme rarity. Coins in low grades, or even those with problems like holes, scratches, corrosion, or damage, still often sell for $7,000, $15,000 simply because of the small surviving population and intense collector demand. High-grade examples, like those in O or mint state, are virtually unattainable for the average collector, with prices starting around $500,000 and escalating into the millions. The finest known 1794 silver dollar, graded specimen 66 by PCGS, sold at auction in 2013 for a break-in $10,016,875, making it the most expensive coin ever sold at the time. That coin is believed by many to be the very first dollar ever struck by the U.S. Mint, possibly even presented to a dignitary or preserved as a specimen to showcase American craftsmanship and capability. This level of prestige cements the coin's legacy not just in U.S. numismatics but in global coin history, even for collectors with modest budgets. A lower-end $1,794 represents a crown jewel of any collection. These coins rarely appear in the open market and are almost always sold through major auction houses like Heritage Auctions, Stack's, Bowers, or Great Collections, where provenance and pedigree play a major role. Collectors value not only the coin itself, but also its ownership history. Knowing that a coin once belonged to a president, senator, or famous collector adds immeasurable cachet. Coins that are authenticated and certified by PCGS or NGC, even in the lowest grades, enjoy far higher market credibility and attract competitive bidding for those fortunate enough to own a $1794 even in good G condition. The coin offers not just monetary value but a sense of holding living history, an object that existed before the Louisiana Purchase, before the Civil War, before Abraham Lincoln was even born. For modern collectors and investors alike, the 1794 flowing hair dollar represents one of the safest and most prestigious long-term holdings in the rare coin market because of its age, rarity, and foundational status. The $1,794 is insulated from market volatility in a way that few other coins can claim. Unlike modern bullion or commemorative coins, its value is not tied to melt price or fads, but to historical relevance and scarcity. There will never be more $1794. In fact, most remaining examples are now in institutional collections, museums, or private vaults, meaning the number available to the public continues to shrink as time goes on, and as more collectors enter the high-end numismatic market. Demand for these coins, even in problematic or heavily worn condition, continues to rise. It's entirely realistic for a VG or G-graded $1,794 to fetch $7,000 to $10,000, and coins with unique toning, dye varieties, or provenance can easily surpass that. In fact, coin experts have stated that the $1,794 is one of the few coins that can never truly be overvalued because its intrinsic appeal and historical significance transcend typical pricing models. In conclusion, the $1,794 $1 coin is not simply a piece of silver, it is a monument in miniature, a symbol of the American experiment cast in metal, and a keystone of numismatic heritage, whether preserved in a museum, sold at a world-class auction, or passed from generation to generation in a private collection. The $1,794 continues to inspire awe and admiration. Even worn, damaged, or corroded examples worth $7,000 or more carry the weight of American history in every scratch and stripe.